The challenge I sometimes have is giving just the right amount of information, because I can talk a blue streak about everything that we're doing, but I don't want to add to your overwhelm. You've already got that going. You don't need more overwhelm. I only want to give you what's important for you to understand right now. But if you have more questions, never hesitate to ask. Okay, so polarity is good. That's a good start. I would like you to keep your eyes on this for me, please. And now on this, please. All right, so there's our first imbalance. And I want to explain what we're checking there. So this is my tool for checking to find out how well energy is synapsing across the midline. And I do want to explain this a little bit because it's really important. And with the overwhelm that you have described, it may well be something that has become chronic. So you probably know, especially if you're working with little people, that the right hemisphere of the brain controls the left side of the body. Left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. And this is why it's really important for babies to crawl before they get up and walk. But sometimes what can happen is that instead of sharing information across the corpus callosum through the optic chiasm, there are a number of neurological places that energy crosses. Instead of crossing readily, it's like the right side does its thing and the left side does its thing, and they're not talking to each other. And this is huge for fatigue and overwhelm and not being able to focus and depression, among other things. So we really want to be sure that those energies are crossing. So let's try the simplest way possible first, and then we'll retest and see if that was enough. If not, then we'll do a deeper test. So let's rub hands together and shake them off. Now, so one of the things that I want to say before we even start doing this exercise is that breath and pace are important, because if you just go through the motions, it's not going to affect the energy as much as if you actually are present with what you're doing and you breathe. So we're going to reach across the shoulder and really hold on to your shoulder and take a nice full breath in through your nose. And then as you exhale through your mouth, drag your hands slowly down across your chest and down the side of your body and as far down your leg as you can. And we're going to do that on the opposite side. Take a full breath in, exhale and drag. We'll do that a few times. And I always welcome the opportunity to be able to do this for myself, because as soon as I start doing it, I go, oh, that feels really good. And again on each side. Okay, now let's see what happened to your energies. Go ahead and keep your eyes on this for me, please. And on this, please. Okay, so what I have found is that wasn't enough. You're still testing weak, if you will, when you look at the X, and stronger when you look at the parallel lines. But that's okay, because I think that giving you this tool of getting out of that, we call this a homolateral state. This is something that you're going to want to remember and probably do. I'm just going to go straight into the big fix. March, this is familiar to you? So this is important to breathe. I say that, and then I look out my window, and where I live, it is so smoky that I cannot see the mountain. Oh. And so breathing deeply does not have the same appeal that it does other times. Okay, let's stop and take a breath. And now cross. And while we're doing this, I want to say that it's great if we have enough energy and enough creativity. I like doing this on my yoga ball because I can get a little bounce in there. But the actual size of the movement is not as important as the messages that the brain is getting. So if you feel really tired, or if you're still lying in bed, doing this is going to be, I mean, you don't have to make it a big movement, but starting your day doing this in bed even is a really great way to get your brain programmed, to reprogram. Okay, let's stop and take a breath. And doing same side again. And we're going to do a recipe, if you will, of same side cross, same side cross, same side cross 3 times. You're going to end with the crossing, and you're going to give it a little bit more extra crossing. And given what you have already described, I think you would probably find this very helpful to do this at least once, if not twice a day. Let's go ahead and stop and take a breath. And we'll go back to crossing. So this is the second set. I think that if you see what happens if you do this a couple times a day for like the next couple of weeks, and then use the over the shoulder pull just intermittently throughout the day, because that will just help to reinforce the crossover pattern.
Okay.
And are you breathing while we're doing this? All right, let's stop and take another breath. And one last time, doing the same side.
This one is more boring.
Yeah, yes, it is. But for some people, it feels much easier than crossing over. And if you ever notice that you get a little confused about the crossing over, that's always a sign that it's needed, that it's necessary. All right, let's stop and take a breath in. And we're going to cross, and we'll end with the crossing.
Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be all right.
Now, let's try that again. Go ahead and keep your eyes on that for me, please. Ta-da. And here. Awesome. Okay, so the whole full-blown, that technique we just used is called the homolateral crossover. What do you call it? Crisscross applesauce? Unless a person has a chronic imbalance, doing the same side and then crossing side is not necessary. If somebody if their usual default is to cross over, then this or the marching helps to reinforce that. It's when a person has fallen out. So I think given what you have described and what the energy testing just said, your energies have started this as the habit instead of this. And so that's how come we have to rehabituate your energies to crossing over. All right, we have more things to check now. I would like you to just cup both ears with your fingertips. Yep, exactly like that. Just double checking. Oh yeah, the pendulum is kind of going, whoa. All right, you can let your hands come down. So that's checking that fight, flight, or freeze meridian system, which definitely needs attention, but we're going to come back to that one in just a second. I'd like you to squish your nose for me, please. Okay, and that you can let go. That's your hookup. That tells me about the central meridian and the governing meridian and how well the two of them are connected at the soft palate, at the roof of the mouth, and at the perineum. Let's try this. Just go ahead and put your finger in your belly button and a finger at the third eye and pull up. Is this familiar also from the brain gym? And again, with the breath has to be good. Can you let your shoulders drop while you do this at the same time? There you go. Exactly. You need to be the one above all others who is doing it for yourself and holding that space. So go ahead and squish your nose. All right. Well, the good news is that just doing that hookup did get you hooked up again. So that's not one of the chronic things necessarily. You know, I want to say before we go on that somebody asked me in a class once, what does it mean really to hold space? And the definition that I came up with is pay attention to and value your own energetic vibration as a means to elevate other people and the environment. So in other words, pay attention to your own energetic business. And when we do that, and that elevates our own vibration, then that moves out into the environment. And just by virtue of that, it uplifts other people in the environment. So I think that the first and foremost thing that we need to do in order to hold space for other people or organizations is to do our particular work. So what I'd like you to do now, do you have shoes on or are your feet bare?
Feet bare.
You're just going to pull each foot up and you're going to give it a swift slap on the bottom of your foot. Okay. First one and then the other.
Okay.
Okay, grounding needs some work too. All right. So by slapping the bottoms of your feet, it is enough to disrupt the energy that's moving in and out through the feet. So that tells me that we want to give the feet some attention. And I really want to show you the best way, I think, to do this. So I'm going to shift myself because I can't do this particular move from my yoga ball, or I will go sliding onto the floor. Up, up. Okay, so you'll want to pull a foot up onto your knee and then start at the ankle and twist around the ankle. One of the things that you will learn about me is that I like to address energy through the fascia. So when we create kind of some friction here. We're creating heat in the fascia and that helps the fascia to soften. So now keep doing that over the top of your foot. So you're just kind of stimulating the skin, creating that friction. And now we're going to use deep pressure. I'm using 3 fingers together and in between each of the spaces in between the bones here, we're going to press in and rub up and down. So I'm starting between my pinky toe and my ring toe, if you will. And then I'm going to move to the next section and go push up and down.
Okay.
Can you see all right? And then move one more towards the big toe I should have cut my fingernails before doing this. You want to be using some deep pressure. And now I'm moving into the channel that's between the big toe and the second toe. And now with your thumbs along the edge of the big toe, just kind of rub and stimulate that side seam of your foot. And now with your thumb and the heel of your hand, press your thumb between each toe. So you're really stretching the webbing. And then starting at the pinky, doesn't really matter where you start, but you're going to twist and twist and twist and snap the energy off. So this helps to open the beginning and the end points of the meridians that either start or finish on the toes. And then the last thing we're going to do, I'm just going to shift so that you can see the bottom of my foot better. With your thumbs, you're going to go horizontally, pressing across and pulling back, just all through the arch of your foot. So you want it to sting a little bit. That is helping, again, to create friction in the fascia that helps the fascia to soften. And it's the fascia that is the carrier of all of the energy. Now we're going to drag, like rake your fingers back toward your heel and your thumb pushing away so that you are stretching the length of the arch.
Yeah, feels really good.
Yeah, doesn't it? All right, let's do the other one. So, you know, energy can get stuck. I mean, that's ultimately what happens when we become disorganized, disoriented, depressed, ill, in pain, is because energy stopped moving. So actually, not just walking or stretching or doing yoga, but really touching and moving the energy in our bodies is going to help it get unstuck. So now once we've gotten the skin on the top of the foot, we're going to go back to those channels and press in and go up and down. And the thing about the feet is that the energy can really get stuck. So you're just going to go up and down about 2 or 3 times and then move on to the next. And these spaces that we're working on right now, they're called the gaits, G-A-I-T-S. And they, a lot of like lymphatic sludge can get stuck in here. And it affects our proprioception. We can't really actually feel the ground as well as we ordinarily would. Let's be sure and do that side seam along the inside of the foot. And then thumb going between each toe, stretching the webbing. And this is in my opinion, the best way to get grounded is to actually work on the feet. And now comes the twisting of each toe and snapping it off. And I know I'm repeating myself, but because there are 6 meridians, that 3 of them begin and 3 of them end on our toes. If those beginning and end points, it's kind of like they get, I know it's a little crude, but it's like if there's a energetic mucus plug that sticks in those points, and then the energy can't flow, and that will really affect our ability to stay present and grounded and connected, literally connected to the energetic field of the earth. So we're going to go thumbs sideways. And now, again, stretching lengthwise. And I'm going to give that inner seam one more stretch. All right, let's see. I need to grab my my pendulum. So, Sophie, will you slap the bottoms of your feet for me again. Much better. Now I'd like you to take your hand like so and just put on both sides of your waist, thumbs to the back, fingers to the front, and we're going to just check on your belt flow. Oh, that's good. All right, that's good. Your belt flow is good. But because the belt flow is so important, it feels so good, even though it's testing strong right now, I want to give it just a little quick opening. So with your hands in that same position, really grab your waist as tight as you can. I have to use my knuckles, not just my fingertips. And then take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, drag your thumbs around and your knuckles forward and shake them off at the belly button. We'll do that a couple times. Grab the waist real firmly, take a breath in, exhale, drag. And again, grab real firmly and exhale. Now, put the fingertips to the back and the thumbs are in the front right now. And take a full breath in. And now drag your hands down the side of your legs all the way down and off your feet. So that helps also with grounding because there's a field of energy around the waist. If it's stagnant or stopped, it will impede the flow of those meridians that are moving up and down the body. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to go back. We left this one, the triple warmer. We left that one without fixing it. And I want to go back to fix that. And I'm just going to give myself a moment to think about what approach I want to take. And I think what I want to do here with you is there are a number of different ways that we can soothe this part of us. My favorite way currently is in this way that I came up with last year during the first lockdown. And I call it the triple warmer embrace. So before we go into it, I want to say just a little bit more about what is triple warmer. Triple warmer can be considered a meridian, but it also is a whole system of its own. And it's a very big system of energy in our body, responsible for fight, flight, or freeze. And even prior to 2020, many people were already experiencing an overabundance of energy on triple warmer because the world has been going so fast and developing so fast. The system is finding danger in a whole lot of things that it really needs to integrate a lot quicker, because driving on the freeway is a thing that's just happening now. Cellular waves in the air, it's just a thing that's happening now. It can't be responding as if it was a saber-toothed tiger that's about to jump on it. But if it's like this all the time, like I said before, it can script that energy. So I like to think about this system as our divine masculine, the divine masculine warrior aspect of ourselves, the protector who really ultimately wants the whole body system to thrive. Sometimes I think of him more like a monarch, a very strong, bold, generous, kind monarch of the body system who's gone a little apeshit because he's so worried about all the things. So what we want to do is we want to bring him home, and we want to give him a moment, if not for good, but a moment of just dropping his guard and allowing himself to be cared for. So the way that we do this, you're going to probably want to take off your glasses. So let's rub our hands and shake them off. And we're going to take the left hand and wrap it around so that your fingertips are touching to your scapula, and your right hand is going to cup your left ear, And let your head tilt so that your head in your ear is resting in your right hand. And then you want to close your eyes and just start gently rocking back and forth. And what you really want to do here is adopt the attitude of an unconditional lover. This is an opportunity for that divine masculine warrior, the one who has been working so very, very hard to keep you safe and protected. But just now, for a minute, he's going to come home. He's going to drop his armor on the floor, drop his weapons on the floor, and take a nice deep breath and let it go. And he's going to crawl into the unconditional, non-judgmental, compassionate, and loving embrace of the divine feminine, who's just going to hold space while he lets go of all of his worries and frets and allows himself to be completely vulnerable and taken care of just for a minute. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, let your hand come up over your ear and then down behind your ear very sensually. This is a very sensual lover's touch, and your hand is now going to stop on the side of your neck, your thumb tucked between your earlobe and the mastoid process, the knobby bone at the base of your skull. And again, you're just going to keep with the rocking, gentle rocking back and forth. Tender, gentle, sensual touch in your hand, conveying that attitude of the divine lover, the divine feminine, holding that divine masculine that's been working so hard on your behalf, giving him a chance to just let go, surrender into the embrace of unconditional love. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, let your hand come down over the top of your shoulder, down the back of your arm, and hold your elbow just above the elbow. And while you hold that, you can replace this hand to your chest. Take another breath. And as you exhale, let your hand drag down your forearm, aiming towards your ring finger. And when you get to the ring finger, just hold the ring finger and let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw relax. Full breath in. And then exhale and pull the energy off your ring finger. All right, we're going to do the other side. So this time the right hand comes around to touch on the scapula. Left hand is cupping the right ear, letting your head rest in your hand, relaxing your shoulders and your jaw, keeping your breath fully in through the nose, and you can exhale through the mouth or through the nose as you like, but be sure that those breaths are nice and full. Slight rocking, and that the energy that you are adopting is one of complete, unconditional love and compassion. No judgment whatsoever for this divine masculine aspect of yourself that's been working as hard as he possibly can to keep you safe, to hold everything together, to anticipate danger, to anticipate what kinds of problems may come. And he's just taking off and dropping all of his armor, all of his weapons of defense, crawling into the embrace of the divine feminine aspect of yourself, and just surrendering for just a moment. And now take a breath and let your hand come up over your ear, down behind the ear, and very sensually down the side of your neck, stopping with your thumb behind the earlobe, tucked between the earlobe and the mastoid process, and then continue rocking. Let your hand be very gentle and sensuous, continuing to provide that unconditional space for the divine masculine to rest and surrender and allow. And now, with a breath in, exhale, taking your hand down across the top of the shoulder, down the back of the arm, cup the elbow there, and let your hand come around to your chest. And now drag your hand down the forearm toward the ring finger. Hold on to the ring finger. Be sure your shoulders are dropped. And with a final full breath through the nose, out through the mouth, and pull the energy off of your ring finger. All right, now give me that cup around the ears, both ears. Yeah. Sweet. That did the trick for that. Now that particular method takes a little bit longer, but when our triple warmer has been in that on mode for as long as it, I mean, it sounded like you were really relating to that. So maybe like how long can you imagine that might have been on? So taking the time to do it that way periodically, I mean, maybe even once a day would be great, every other day at least. But even though it takes a little bit longer, I think it's worth it, because what we really have to do is we have to bring that triple warmer back into the fold. We have to help it acclimate to the things that it just really needs to learn to integrate, because life has gotten, it's sped up, and the technology and all the things that it could potentially see as a threat, we have to just integrate and be like, okay, cell phone waves are a thing now that you just have to know how to deal with, or, microwaves or the pollution in the air. It's not to say that we don't need to do anything about those things or to mitigate them. It just means to help triple warmer understand that it doesn't have to fight so hard. But here's another quick way that you can do it just throughout the day. Excuse me. And this, you'll also have to take your glasses off. So 2 fingers, which you'll have to peek at me first. 2 fingers across your eyelids, and you'll take a breath in. And as you exhale, drag your fingertips out to the corner of your eyes. And then inhale and press up at the temples. And then exhale with your whole hand coming down around behind the ears, down the side of the neck, and then just let your hands rest here for a second. Another breath in. Exhale and drag your hands forward. I like to shake them off before resting them on my heart. And I also like to just sweep down backwards. When we do that, what we're doing is we're going backward along that triple warmer pathway, which helps to take energy off of it because it's got too much energy on. And so you can do that anytime throughout the day that you feel yourself getting amped up. you can feel like I need to take a little energy off. So I always recommend to befriend triple warmer. You really want to become friends with your triple warmer. So we have, let me just check in here for a second. We have basically covered what I think of as the foundational energies. With this is like the energetic scaffolding almost. And when we've got these basic energies organized, you're grounded, you're crossing over, your triple warmer is calm, and because you read and you were fine, that means the energy is balanced all right between the front and the back, and you're hooked up. Now we can start looking deeper at what else is going on for you particularly. I think of this process we've just done as like skimming the scum off the surface of the pond. Now we can look down in the waters and go, all right. So I'm going to use a process here to help guide me to what we're going to do next.